Hey guys, Brando back here again to go through another pickup video. I did one for my August run through and I'm going to go through my September right now. Got a couple of games here. As I said, I took a little bit of a break, didn't pick up too much stuff, but I do have a few things that I forgot to mention last time that I received as gifts. So let's just get right down to it. So the first thing that I want to show is some of my gifts that I got. I was in a couple of weddings this summer for a few of my friends, and the first one, a buddy that I grew up with, ended up getting me a Super Nintendo game that he came across. It's called Joe and Mac, and it's like this little platformer where you run around as these little cave guys, saving all the sexy cave girls from all the evil cavemen and dinosaurs and all these other things that you kind of come across. It's a pretty challenging game. Me and him played two-player on it, and it was really hard. And then I tried playing single-player, and it was actually a little bit easier. I don't know if they give the enemies more health for two-player or not, but anyway, yeah, thanks, Rob. I really appreciate that. I was in another wedding this summer, so he got me a gift. He got all of his groomsmen flasks, so he got me this cool little kind of Game Boy flask with my name on it. You know, it's pretty cool. I really dug it. He really surprised me with it. The fact that he kind of thought of the little things that I would like and everything. So thanks, Matt. I really appreciate the Game Boy flask. I probably won't be using it for liquor. Probably get some gamer fuel. Now, the last thing that I forgot to mention last time was that in August I picked up a new Game Boy Advance SP. And I actually picked one up when I went on my big gaming hunt back at the beginning of the year. But I found this one for about the same price that I got the other one, and it is a Model 101. That's how you can tell back there. It's like up there in like that region. Wait, yep, right there. Webcam stuff. Anyway, yeah, AGS Model 101. And the difference between that and the normal one is that it actually has a brighter screen. It's actually backlit instead of being side lit. So when you're playing, you see like the little screen here, there's a little button here, and you can actually make it brighter. It's like an LCD screen. And so that was a must-have for me. I actually tried playing some games that I got on the other one, and it was still remarkably difficult to actually, have to sit there and do it. It was kind of hard on the eyes. I've actually tried to go back and play the original Game Boy, and that thing is ridiculous. How did we ever do that before we had, illuminating like LCD screens? But anyway, getting off topic, I ended up picking this up, and I also picked up Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. So I'm not sure if there's any other ones on the Game Boy Advance. I assume there are. But I saw this, and I never really saw it around too much, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. So yeah, great game and a great system. There's so many games on here. If you ever have any vague interest in picking up a Game Boy Advance, get this one right here, because you're going to be able to have full backwards compatibility with all the other Game Boy titles, a Game Boy Color, and it has a backlit screen. Remember that, Model 101 right there in the back. Going forward here, I bought a handful of 360 games from a coworker. He was getting rid of his 360 and kind of dumping off some of his games. I ended up getting about 9. One of them was a duplicate, but so here's a big stack of it. Of course, I've got Red Dead Redemption. I actually already have this on PS3, but this one is the game of the year that comes with the physical copy of the Undead Nightmare. And I really dug that, and I really wanted to have a physical copy of that, because sure, that eventually the online support for the PS3 and 360 are going to go out, or they're going to shut it off basically. So if you don't have that downloaded to your hard drive, or if your hard drive fails after that, you're not going to be able to get that back. That's why I'm really hunting down the physical copy for some of the DLC stuff that I ended up getting. The next one that I ended up getting out of that was Fallout New Vegas, which I actually bought this on the PC on like a Steam sale for really cheap. And funny story about this one, me and Rob were playing through this on the PS3, and the character creation suite on the Fallout games kind of suck. And I remember on the Fallout 3, on Fallout 3, I ended up making a dude that looked kind of like Michael Keaton. And on this one, he ended up looking kind of like Alan Jackson, so we named him Alan Jackson and made his first quest. Not doing anything else. He had to find a cowboy hat. Another one I got, and that is Dead Island, which I actually put this in and played a little bit of it. I'm not a huge fan of like first-person games or first-person shooters or anything like that, but this is really cool. You run around just like beating the crap out of zombies and everything. So, it's not too bad. I really hope I can get into it. The next one, actually two, I'll just hold these up about the same. Halo Reach and Halo 4. This as in my Halo collection. I'm not huge into Halo, but if you're gonna collect for Xbox, it's like saying you're not gonna collect Mario if you're collecting Nintendo. I'm trying to get into Halo, guys. I don't know if I'm ever going to, like, hardcore, but I'm really trying. I really dig sci-fi stuff. So the last one was a game that he just kind of threw in. He didn't really think anybody would give him much for it, and it is Guitar Hero 2 and the Aerosmith thing in dual pack. And I already have Guitar Hero 2 on PS2, but I don't have the Aerosmith one, so I'll have to pick me up now an Xbox guitar controller to go with my other ones, which is starting to kind of amass over here in my corner. Moving on here, I got a couple of PS1 games to add to my collection. I think I'm up to like 87 or 89 now. If you can see, I kind of got like a little bookshelf back there now. Got those displayed. But Dragon Ball GT Final Bout. Now this was the re-release that Atari came out with in like 04 when when GT came out in the States to actually get dubbed. This was actually really relatively cheap. It would have been really cool to find the original pressing, but that's kind of expensive still to this day. But I'm just glad I got the game. The game is totally unchanged. It's just the packaging and everything else. So I probably won't even hunt down the original one now. I have no intent to really get that. I've got this. I mean, I have the game. It's just not the original pressing. I'm not that crazy for it. But you know what? It's a pretty interesting fighter. It's not great, but kind of reminds me of a lot of those early 3D fighting games that didn't really quite have all their stuff tuned down yet. Speaking of that, that's what the other one is too. It is Ehrgeiz, which is made by Squaresoft. It was a fighter. It had Cloud, Sephiroth, Tifa, and Vincent from FF7, and a bunch of other people. I'm not sure. I don't know where most of these guys come from. I know one of them is supposed to be God Hand, but I don't know if he wasn't there a God Hand game that came out, but I don't think Square made it. I have to look that stuff up. I'm very not knowledgeable about the other characters in this game. But I got this for relatively cheap, but unfortunately, it's basically just the disc, and that has a Blockbuster sticker on it. Every time I've seen this game, it's been a little bit more than I wanted to pay for it. I'll have to hunt down the case separately. They actually had like a printed piece of paper in there and for the front, so I don't have a manual or anything, but it'll do for now until I can actually get a case for it. Alright, now we got some games from not the last generation, but the one before it, for the good old GameCube, Xbox, and PS2. First off, for the GameCube is Metal Arms, Glitch in the System. I'm not sure if you've ever played this. I think it was available for all three systems. I know originally I was going to get it on the Xbox. That's what I actually played it on. My buddy had it on the Xbox. And they had the case, but they couldn't find the game anywhere, so I had to pass on it. But I ended up finding it for the GameCube, and I think it's pretty similar. It's kind of like a platformer, and you run around and shoot stuff, kind of like a Ratchet and Clank or something like that. But I really enjoyed when I played this back in the day, and I had to hunt this down for my collection. Really fun game. For the original Xbox, this is one of my favorite horror games ever. Since this is October now, this is a great time to talk about this. Silent Hill 2. Now, I originally played this on the PS2, and I haven't played through the Xbox one yet. I put this in to test it, see if it worked, and it brought back a lot of memories. This one has a subtitle, was it Restless Dreams? And I think they have a bunch of extra content for this version, for like additional player, more secrets revealed, new areas and stuff like that. But I cannot wait to dive into that. It has been so long. I'd have to say it's been more than 10 years since I played this game. And I remember this was one of the last horror games that I ever really got into. I remember RE2, and then I remember this. And then RE4, but it was just different. RE4 was scary for a different reason. It wasn't like the kind of like environmental scare. So definitely glad to have this one. Now the last two here are for the PS2. I'm going to first talk about this one. It was Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Now I know this is on the 360, but I ended up finding this for relatively cheap, and I figured why not. And I actually just upgraded my PS2 to S-Video, and that TV I could have done it on Component, to get progressive scan. I'm not sure if this game even supports that, but I didn't want to do component in there because I already have the Xbox component. I didn't want to have to buy a switcher, and I want to have my games be playable by a touch of a button. And so I ended up picking this up on the PS2, and it looked great on my S-Video. I mean, it looked fantastic. You'd have to sit there and think about it, that it was actually a PS2 game. So I thought that was really cool how they were able to get a lot out of the PS2 towards the end of its run. But this is a great game. Of course, it's like a spiritual successor to the X-Men Legends games, the same type, kind of like that dungeon crawler kind of thing, up to 4 players, and I think I have a multi-tap, so I can actually do that. The last one here on the PS2, I never played this back in the day. I ended up finding this, and a lot of people are talking about it, and that is Destroy All Humans. And when I tested this out, I did not want to put it down. I played through quite a bit of it, and this is just such a fun, quirky game where you run around and you're probing people and zapping them, and you get in your little, saucer, end up flying around and just zapping up people's houses, and you just kind of progress through the story that way. It is just a really fun game, very quirky. If you have never played Destroy All Humans, please pick it up. There's a second one out there, and that one is on my list to get. Alright, so the last 2 here are sort of my grand gets for the month. The first one here I got early on in September. I really had to hunt this down and find it locally. There weren't that many, but Soul Blazer for the Super Nintendo. This one was made by Enix, of course now mixed with Square Enix, but it's along the same lines of Illusion of Gaia. If you've played that, it's kind of like an action RPG or something like that. So you're like kind of running around defeating monsters and saving people and whatnot. This is a really cool game. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I haven't played through it all the way yet. Looking forward to getting some time to do that. That's one thing I actually don't have is a lot of time. So Soul Blazer, this one cost me a little bit. Basically for me, when I'm building this collection, I try to get it as cheap as possible, but sometimes I get that itch. And I really want to play something. I've heard a lot about it. So heard a lot about Soul Blazer. A buddy of mine has Illusion of Gaia. I'm going to have to get that soon. Now, that same buddy, Rob, picked me up something at one of his local garage sales. And that is Final Fantasy IV Advance, and it's still in box, complete sealed. It's actually not worth a whole lot, but so because of that, I'm having the real bad itch about wanting to open it. I want to crack it open and see what's inside. But I'm also thinking, it's not that going to be that much to get like just a cartridge, and I could just have this as a really cool showpiece, and who knows, maybe it'll be worth something in about 20 to 30 years. Final Fantasy IV is one of my favorites to go through, and I've actually got that on a couple different systems and platforms. So I'm going to have to keep my eye out to get this on cart only for GBA, because I got that new Game Boy Advance and I really want to play this. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for now. A little bit of a shorter video, I hope. Of course, as I said, I took a little bit of a break. I'm getting ready to go some game hunting here soon. And for the next month's video, hopefully I'm going to have quite the number of games to show you. I'm going to be adding to a certain aspect of my collection, which I have not even been focusing on yet. So I'm really excited for that. Hope you guys check out the other videos here on the channel. Check out Journey to Comics on Facebook, Instagram. Check us out on iTunes. Check out the podcast. We got some pretty cool stuff coming at you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.